Hey everybody, it's Dr. Lori. I figured it was time to give you an update on what happened when Dr. Lori went vegan. So in this video, I'm going to give you the 5 things that happened to me when I went vegan. So if you don't recall and if you didn't see the first video, I went vegan because I was having a lot of dysbiosis. I had a lot of gut issues and I really needed to give myself a little break from eating a lot of animal proteins because it was making my system work overtime. Add that together with a lot of stress. I don't know if you guys realize what a huge connection there is between your digestion and the stress connection. That's something entirely different for another video that I'll do for you, but we're going to focus on the vegan thing. So at first it was great. I noticed my digestion was better, constipation was less, I felt like things were moving along fine. I was enjoying it because I was eating about 60% of my diet coming from fruits, which I normally don't eat. So I do add some blueberries and berry categories, maybe an apple now and then. But during that phase, I got to have papaya and banana and more fruit than I am used to. And to me, it was like candy. It was like a kid in a candy store. This is a person coming from somebody who used to be a sugar addict. So for me, it was kind of fun at first. And the food was delicious. I got creative and I was having a lot of fun with this. Okay, so before I get to the 5 things that happened, I want to tell you some of the challenges that I've faced. Some of you, before jumping on the bandwagon of being a vegan, have to know that going into this, if you have dietary challenges, this may not be the best diet for you. I think I've said it before in other videos that I have done and other education, but there is not a one-size-fits-all category of diet for every single person. Please remember that. So if your friend is vegan and is trying to convince you, it's almost like politics right now. They're trying to convince you that you need to do this because it works for them. Just because it works for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I have a lot of friends that are vegans that do very, very well on this diet. So it didn't work for me. And I'm going to tell you why, because of my challenges. My challenges, number 1, is I have, because of a drug side effect of taking Nexium for 8 years, it destroyed my gut. I have leaky gut. I've been repairing it now for the last 5 years. And so because of leaky gut, I have lots of food intolerances. If you have tons of food intolerances, which by the way are much better than they were 5 years ago, it's going to create a challenge because you're very limited still in what you can eat. So on a vegan diet, it doesn't mean that you're just going to be able to eat everything and it's going to be free range, everything that you want. Go into a farmer's market and buy every single fruit and vegetable. Not if you have food intolerances. So if you have food intolerances, you have to be very selective, very careful, and it's very easy to create new food intolerances if you eat too much of that food. And so that is very possible that that could happen to you. Number 2 challenge that I had, I am a toxic mold survivor. As a result of toxic mold, I'm very prone to gut candida infections. Therefore, if I eat high amounts of fruit, like if I went fruitarian, not a good idea. If I eat high amounts of fruit, I could cause candida overgrowth because of the fact that the toxic mold has made me more susceptible to gut candida infections. And number 3 is I had a lot of dysbiosis still. And so too much of a good thing, it can be too much of a good thing. And so for me, one of the things I can't eat is the cruciferous, the entire cruciferous vegetable family. So I had to cut that out completely. So we're narrowing down now what I can and cannot eat. I also am allergic to soy. So I can't eat soy because soy causes a lot of digestive issues and I get very inflamed and puffy. I can't eat beans, which is another source of protein. So beans also will wreak havoc with my entire system, which is another source of protein. And also, I had other foods that were just big, big no-nos. Okay, so here you go. The 5 things that happened to Dr. Lori when I went vegan. And this is not meant to be negative. I'm just letting you know this is what happened to me. And it could happen to you. So just be aware when you're going into this, be smart about it. There's a few things that you should do before going vegan, and I would highly suggest that you research this before doing it. But for a month at a time, 1 month here, a month there of going meat-free might not be so bad. So number one, ladies, I know men are not going to like this either, but ladies, I suffered major hair loss. So my hair is normally super, super thick. I've got great hair. I've always been complimented on my hair. The first thing after the first month is my hair started falling out. And I'm not talking just a little bit of falling out. I'm talking about massive amounts of hair in my brush, in my shower, on my floor. And it was to the point that was making me cry because I was losing so much hair. When I would go into the beauty shop, I would have to ask them to be gentle because not only was my hair falling out, but it was brittle. So it was falling out at the root, it was brittle. So this signals to me number 2 issue, vitamin deficiencies. Now, I am a nutritionist. I'm board certified in natural medicine. I take tons of supplements. Before going into this, I increased the amount of supplements I was taking and made sure that I was taking adequate levels of B12. In fact, I doubled the amount of B12 that I was taking. I started taking branched chain amino acids because I work out every day. I lift weights. I did not want to lose muscle mass, and so I was doing things to increase amino acids that I could get because I was not getting animal protein. So I became vitamin deficient. And how did I know this? One of the things I do, and one of the machines I have, is a hair follicle analysis machine, and I actually tested my hair follicles before and after. I became extremely iron deficient. I started bruising like crazy. So iron you get from animal protein. You can get it from a lot of vegetables. Again, I had a lot of vegetable intolerances in my food intolerance list, and so I became very iron deficient, which made me very fatigued, very weak. So my skin started getting very dry, even with all the vegetables and fruits. I started feeling much, much worse. So that's number 2. I ended up with vitamin deficiencies. Number 3, the one thing I did not want to do, and before going into this, and I spoke with my nutritionist practitioner because I do work with somebody, I said I was very afraid because I'm very, very proud of the fact that I do lift weights. I do appreciate being healthy and muscular and lean. I said the first thing I was worried about is I don't want to lose muscle mass because I'm cutting out the meat. And the first thing that I noticed is I started losing muscle mass because, as I pointed out earlier, I had virtually no sources of protein. The other thing too is grains. I was allergic to grains. So it got to the point too where rice started to affect me as well. So I had to cut out, of course I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, so gluten-free. No wheat, no rice, no corn. These are all things I'm allergic to. Now I also had to cut out quinoa because I noticed the quinoa started to make me inflamed. So here you go. No grains, which quinoa is a great source of protein as well. No beans. No protein. So I started losing muscle mass, which is no bueno. That was one of the deal breakers for me. No bueno. I don't want to lose muscle mass. Number 4, I ended up with a very severe case of Candida gut overgrowth. Now, this was very under control before I started this. I don't eat a lot of fruit. I do low glycemic index fruits. And so basically, I do blueberries and berries and apples. But here I was introducing bananas and papaya and other fruits that are way higher on the glycemic spectrum, and was told to eat quite a bit because that would help rebuild the prebiotics, which feed the good bacteria in your gut, and that these foods would help move things along. It didn't. It actually gave me Candida gut infection, which made me very sick. In fact, that made me have to find another practitioner, and I even got tested for SIBO as a result of how sick that I had gotten from this. And so that was another thing. That's number 4, Candida gut overgrowth because of the fruit. 60% of my diet was fruit because of my intolerances. So that's number 4. And finally, I got fat. That's about as easy as it can go. I have a smaller frame, and when I am in tip-top shape, like I was for a competition last year, my ideal weight is right around 127 pounds, and I have about 18 or 19% body fat when I'm healthy. I ended up gaining nearly 15 pounds in that time frame. None of my clothes fit. I was back to square one where I was last year when before I did my fitness competition. And I had terrible, awful cellulite because my body was not dealing with this onslaught of all the sugar in my diet. And I was quickly becoming insulin resistant, leptin resistant. I was hungry all the time, craving all the time. I needed meat, I needed fats, I needed a lot of things. So I also do DNA testing for what's the perfect diet for you based off of your DNA. My perfect diet also says that I shouldn't be eating a ton of fat. And that was the only thing I had to help me satiate because I was not getting enough protein. So fat made me fat. Vegan made me fat. There was a lot of things that I was dealing with that I had to now reverse that metabolic pathway. So I'm just going to summarize real quick for you. I know this took way too long, but it had to be told. This story had to be told, and you have to know that these things could happen to you. So the 5 things that happened to Dr. Lori when she went vegan: hair loss, iron deficiency, anemia. I had vitamin deficiencies. Number 3, muscle mass loss due to having not enough protein in my diet. Number 4, Candida overgrowth, which made me fatigued, which made it nearly impossible to wake up in the morning because I was so sick with Candida and the brain fog. And number 5, I gained weight. I got fat. So I am back to my paleo ways, and I'm eating wild-caught fish. I'm eating vegetables. I am eating around 100 grams of protein every day. I'm sticking with more of turkey and wild-caught fish, and I'm sticking with very healthy vegetables, especially ones that are higher in water content, and everything is organic, and I've already lost the 15 pounds that I had gained. My hair is not falling out as much. My vitamins are now not having an issue, and so everything has seemed to stabilize. But this is one thing that I will not be repeating anytime soon. I now know what my body needs, and I hope this was helpful for you if you're considering doing this. Be smart about it. Have somebody work with you, but note that these are some of the side effects that you may suffer if you try doing this without guidance. And so with that, go ahead and heal yourself, beautiful, and do what works for you. And so have a blessed day, and I will be back with more great tips for you. So visit me on the website, healyourselfbeautiful.com, and keep up on what's going on. There's some fun and exciting things coming. So with that, love y'all and take care.